Okay, we built the fence. Now it's time to put the pickets on. And you can see that I kind of already jumped the gun because if you saw the previous video, it was such a struggle that when I had the chance to just put some pickets on and get some instant gratification, I did. But even then, I screwed it up. Let me show you. The very first hole I put in hit the metal behind it. So I screwed up the very first hole. So yeah, after that, it was pretty straightforward. Obviously, you're just drilling it right into those 2x4s to hold it in place. And what's easier than that? In fact, that's too easy. So I'm going to have to challenge myself to make it perfect just to keep it interesting. So that picket there on the left is a 6-foot tall picket. And of course, I want some clearance. And it's a little too high, compared to the rest of the fences. So I decided arbitrarily to cut 5 inches off of it. And that turned out to be just the perfect amount of board to remove. And then to keep the bottom consistent, I'm just using that board to rest the pickets on when I install them to make sure I have the clearance. Now I only have 1 hour to work and 14% battery on my phone, so I don't know how much I'm going to get done today, but let's get started. This piece of wood is the bottom of the last picket I cut, so there's no reason to get out the tape measure. I can just measure 5 inches using that. I have to cut slowly. This saw is very old, and this is the original blade. I think it's like from 2010. I paid like 20,000 Bitcoins for it. It was funny at the time. Okay, just got to do that about 20 more times. Like I said, it's too easy to just put these pickets up and screw them in. So I'm going to just make it unnecessarily complicated by trying to make my screw placement perfect. And to do that, I'm going to put every screw at the 2-inch and 4-inch space rather than just eyeballing it. So this is going to be my template, so I don't lose this among all the other pieces of wood. So here's our new picket resting on the board to make sure we maintain that clearance. I'm going to draw a straight line across. And then I'll use my template to make sure the nails are exactly spaced at 2 inches. And you're saying, Tom, this is a little bit crazy. Nobody's going to care. Oh, they're going to care. They're going to be talking about this fence forever. They're going to come by and they're going to marvel at this fence and say, what a model of precision. This is the fence gate by which we will measure all future fence gates against. Also, I mean, it gets kind of boring if you don't make it a challenge. I got a feeling if like some professional fence company saw the speed at which I work at, they would not hire me. But I would say, hey, look how perfect it is. I would say, don't I get any bonus points for having it perfectly measured? And they would just laugh at me and fire me. All right. Like I said, 20 more to go. I started thinking, let me take these off. I started thinking, why am I measuring each board out there in the hot sun? I can just measure one and then use that as a template against all the other ones. So that's what I'm going to do. This is the one that I know isn't, I took the level. So with this board here, I used the level to find out what lines I want to cut along. So with this board, I marked with a level on this board where I want to put the screws in. So this is going to be my template because this is kind of screwy. I didn't notice it was broken until I brought it home. Thanks, Home Depot. And I'm just going to mark each one of these boards in here using my block that I created as a template. I'm going to mark here. And this is what we call process improvement. This is why I'm a Six Sigma Blackbelt. Actually, I'm not a Six Sigma Blackbelt. Actually, I think Six Sigma Blackbelt's a silly thing. I think when I was like 12, I got a yellow belt in Taekwondo. A belt system for process improvement. Sounds like something a bunch of nerds would come up with. Anyway, sorry to all the Six Sigma Black Belts out there. I know you worked hard for it. Okay, so I'm going to do this with all the boards and we'll put them up, probably in like the time-lapse thing so you won't get bored. As predicted, I didn't get a whole lot done yesterday. Ran out of time, ran out of iPhone battery. It's a new day. We're going to continue on, and a slight modification to our process. Remember how I had those blocks of wood and I was measuring 5 inches from the bottom with that and 2 inches across with the other block of wood? Well, I found this carpenter square, so we're just going to use this. It's just more precise and just as easy. Safety first. If you're wondering, Tom, what's with the hat? Well, this is the Sunshine State. It's going to be 80 degrees today. So you know what? Every one of those lines I drew in the garage based off my template is not lining up. I guess the bottom is at different heights. That's so disappointing. My strategy of drawing the lines in the garage is not working out because I don't know, the bottom is a different height. I do have the 2 inches marked, but I'm gonna have to like redraw this line if I want to be perfect. And why wouldn't I want to be perfect? All right, let's persevere. Like I said in the other video, the real world is just such a hassle to work in, you know? In the computer world, everything lines up. If you say X is 7, then X is 7 for everything. But here, your pavers might be a different height, or you might have cut the board a little off, and man. Anyway, let's get to work. I'm only going to concern myself with the top row right now. The bottom row will be a piece of cake once everything on the top is held in place. I wonder if I am supposed to sink them in a little bit. I need to look that up. Well, I can always go back and do that if need be. I don't know how perfect I have to be with this horizontal vertical because the wood's going to swell and everything, right? Plus, look at this gap just because the wood is wonky. Also, in a couple days, I won't notice this gate at all. But since we're here, let's do our best. Do you hate it? I hate it too. I hate that gap. It's not too late to change it. Oh, I guess it's this board that screws it up. All right. We're just going to have to deal with the fact that the world's imperfect. I'll put this one back where it was because the holes are already there, right? I'll do it, but I'm not going to like it. Can I fit this here? And is that even a legal thing to do? Well, it fits almost perfectly. It's almost like I planned it. So if you watch the other video, you saw when we put these hinges in that we put the top of the bolt towards the wood so that we could attach the wood. It still sticks out a little bit though. But that's just what we're gonna have to deal with. Okay, just have to remember that I only have about this much wood to work with because the metal here, right? Nice. Okay, now time to put the screws in the bottom. So I'm realizing I need to like keep the door from moving. So let me get a big concrete block and hold it in place. That should help. Nope, did not help. Okay. We'll work left-handed. It's good for the brain anyway. All right, that's looking pretty good. All right, working from the lessons learned, trying to measure that horizontal line in the garage was a fool's errand because the ground's not level. But marking off 2 inches on the board saved a lot of time, so we're going to do that. And counting the boards, I need 10 boards. I've cut one already, so 9 more, and then we'll finish the other side. This sort of thing is disappointing. I didn't really know to look for that when I was picking out boards. I just figured they wouldn't be cracked when I bought them. So in the future, be aware to check every board. I'm a little apprehensive because this one worked out so perfectly. I can't imagine I'm going to get lucky twice. So let me just see what's going on. The total length of these pickets was 59 and 7/8 inches. And the total length of the gate is 58 and a quarter. The total length of this gate is unknown. Oh my gosh, 58 and 3/16, so almost the same. So this should work out perfectly too. You're like, Tom, didn't you know they're the same? Didn't you make this? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's not exactly, right? Nothing's exactly in this horrible real world where I have to work. The weight's pulling this one down a little bit. They're not level anymore. Despite their bold claims of a non-sagging fence, you can see that all this weight, which is significant, is making it sag just enough that my other gate isn't going to line up right now. But that's okay. I'm sure once this thing gets weight on it, it'll start to sag too. Hopefully they don't drive together. Oh no. Oh no. Only one way to find out. All right, remembering my lessons from last time, don't try to drill it into the metal. Okay, let me get it started before I try. So now the new fear that's been unlocked is that the gates, which were super level, if you saw the previous video, they're going to have weight and they're going to tilt just a little bit and smash into each other. Let's find out. Did I drill it into the metal anyway? Yes, I did. Oh my God, that's so close. That's just too close, man. Just too close. What can I do about it? What can I do about it? So this is unexpected, but this, I'm going to have to make it just a little bit shorter or else these boards are going to hit each other. So that's not as hard as it sounds because I'll show you. I can just undo these screws and then slide this back, that much. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have that much room down here. I mean, I'm sure I don't. Well, I have to cut the bottom board. Challenge 1, don't lose this bit. Challenge 2, don't lose these wood screws. Challenge 3, don't strip the wood screws. So I'm thinking that these arms are still screwed in, right? So it's not going to fall apart on me. In order to move this far enough back, because there's not enough space here, I'm going to have to undo these screws here. There's a little bit of space here, and hopefully that'll be enough to move it over 1/8 of an inch. Will that save the day? Because that's all I got to work with. Otherwise, this whole thing's coming apart. This sucks. Now, although this 2x4 has been unscrewed from the brackets, it's still held in place by the telescopic arm, and the arm itself can slide, so that's not going to be a problem. The problem I see now is that, am I going to move the board enough that I can drill new holes? Or will I not be able to have enough new wood for the screws to bite into? Let's find out. All right, last time we measured it, it was 50 something and 3/16. Let's revisit. This was 58 and a quarter, so this one should also be 58 and a quarter at this point. I hope. 58 and 3/16, so less than a quarter. Did we move it enough? Let's put it all back together and find out. Okay, I've moved this side over as far as I can without cutting these 2x4s. If this doesn't work, I have another idea. I could screw in these hinge posts, another loop, and move it in even more. Hope it doesn't come to that, but let's find out. Oh, I better hook this back up too, huh? I think we did it. Now, if it swells up in the summer in hurricane season, then all bets are off. But I think we're good for now. You know, it just doesn't fit. And you're like, well, Tom, how is that possible? If the gates are the same size, how do they not fit? And I'm guessing that this was just screwed in another turn, which brought the whole thing closer to this post. So I have to rip this with my ancient saw. I don't know how well that's going to go. Maybe that's a Home Depot thing. Get them to use their professional stuff. Anyway, let's persevere. I think this is a scenario where you'd want to clamp these down. I don't have that option because I don't have the clamps. So I'm going to go slowly. And if it looks like I'm getting in trouble, I'm going to stop. And then I'll just like screw these things in. That'll hold it and start again. So let me start this way, but with the understanding we might not do it this way. Let's continue with safety in mind. I now realize it's silly to say continue with safety, and I'm not wearing safety glasses. All 10. Hey, what do you know? Yeah, I think we got it. Team, I think we've done it. Ta-da! And it looks pretty level, and these screws are something to be marveled at for generations. All right, so now we're like, hey, we're done. No, we're not done. Handles and some sort of latching system. So measuring 5 inches up from the bottom, this might be confusing to women because men have always told them this is 8 inches.